Hey, this is Brian Foley. I'm here today to talk to you about the walk and turn test. When you've been arrested for a DWI in Galveston, Texas, a lot of times, I would say pretty much every time, they're going to be doing three tests that are field sobriety tests, what they call them: a horizontal gaze nystagmus, which is an eye test, the walk and turn test, and then the one leg stand test. So today, again, we're talking about the walk and turn. This is one of the most important tests and things that we look at when we're trying to figure out, is this a case that we're likely to win, or is a jury going to find that this person is intoxicated on video? Um, they can prove intoxication, the state of Texas can, by showing that you have an alcohol concentration of above zero point zero 0.08, or they can show it by the loss of the normal use of your mental or physical faculties. And so in the 1970s, they created the standardized field sobriety test to try to help officers show that a person's faculties have been compromised by alcohol. And so, as we see over here on the left side of the screen, these are the clues that they're looking for. They do not announce that these are the clues they're looking for when you do the walk and turn. They are going to just tell you to get into the ready position by placing your left foot on the line and your right foot in front of your left foot, heel to toe, with your arms to your side, and to stay in that position until they instruct you otherwise. And then if you have the inability to maintain balance during the instruction phase like that, you step your right foot back over because you're going to listen to the instructions in a comfortable position instead of the uncomfortable position they put you in. Well, then they say that's one of the clues. But again, they don't tell you that's what they're looking for. Uh, if you start to do the test before they say, okay, now you're ready to go, that's one of the clues. They're going to ask you to take 9 heel to toe steps on an imaginary line. Sometimes there's a real line, but most of the time it's an imaginary line they're asking you to do it on. Touching heel to toe each time, and staying on that line until you get to your ninth step. When you get to your ninth step, you leave your lead foot planted and then make a series of small steps, leaving your lead foot in that spot and twisting that lead foot while you take a series of small steps. Nobody has ever turned like that in the history of walking, but they ask you to do it that way. And if you don't do it just that way, then you have done it like with an improper turn. The other clues obviously are fail to touch heel to toe, stepping offline, using arms for balance, and the incorrect number of steps. I've seen people do 18 steps, because they're doing 9 and 9 again because the officer says it a little strangely the first time he gives these instructions. And so, one of the things we do as defense is we look, how were these instructions given? Was it confusing the way they were given? I know how to do the test because I've seen them 100 times, but somebody who's never done it before, they're having to listen to those instructions for the first time, and it can be a little tricky. So the walk and turn test has a lot of different opportunities for you to mess it up. Uh, each step, you could have stepped off the line. Each step, you might have failed to touch heel to toe. And they have different tolerances for this. It's normally a half inch. They're asking you to get within a half inch. When they train the officers in the academy, they tell them to like kind of slam their heel into the toe of the other shoe, uh, to make sure it touches heel toe. You kind of click it, and that's the easiest way to do it. But they're not going to tell you that. And if you're wearing high heels, or they may ask you to take your shoes off, and you're trying to step on top of your toe, it's much more difficult than the method that they teach in the academy. So uh, this this is the most likely test for someone to have a mess up on it, even if they're sober. Even if you are totally sober, there's so many opportunities to get a clue. And these clues, there's 8 of them. If you get 2 clues, that's essentially a failing grade. Now, if an officer who's in that training school was here, he would say, "Well, it is not a pass fail to test. It is just something for me to observe." But they say that 2 clues is the decision point, and point means they can arrest you. So if you only have 1 clue, technically that means you passed. On the walk or on the one leg stand, they'll do the same thing, and so they'll add up these clues from the various field sobriety tests, and then kind of make a determination whether they think you're intoxicated. And the jury is going to do something very similar. The jury is going to look at how you do on these tests, how you respond. Are you slurring your words? Are you are there some other explanations for what's happening other than intoxication? And it all comes back to the burden of proof to the state beyond a reasonable doubt. So hopefully this has been helpful for you if you're wanting to understand what the walk and turn is. As always, these are for educational purposes only. I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you get pulled over in Galveston, give us a call. Thanks.